If you grew up in Britain between the 1950s and the 1970s, you knew the Hornby train set. Not as a concept, as an object, the weight of it, the livery painted down to the wheel flanges, the way it sat on the track under the Christmas tree and made everything else in the room irrelevant for the rest of the morning. At 4 o'clock on the morning of the 11th of March 1980, 140 men carrying axes and iron bars broke through the gates of the factory that made it. Inside, the workers who had refused to leave for 14 weeks, through 2 winters, through Christmas Eve when management cut the power and the heating, through offers of money they needed and would not take, had finally run out of time. This was Binns Road, Liverpool, the building that had produced Hornby trains since 1914. The Meccano set in the corner of every British classroom. The Dinky Toys that every child in the country pushed across a kitchen floor before they were old enough for anything else. One of the most loved manufacturing names in British history, 2,000 workers, 66 years of it, ended with axes before the city woke up. The objects those hands made are still here. The factory is gone. The story of how that happened begins in 1901 with a £5 loan that nobody involved understood would change anything. Today, certain toys that left that same factory in the 1930s sell at auction for more than £20,000, more than many cars. These objects were built to outlast the children who first held them, and they have. But the factory that made them, the Binns Road, works in the Old Swan district of Liverpool, one of the great manufacturing buildings of 20th century Britain, is gone, demolished in stages through the 2000s. The site is now a housing estate. Nothing on the ground marks what stood here. The question worth asking is how a company that made some of the most loved objects in the history of British childhood ended up losing everything except its name. The answer begins not in a factory, but in a ledger, with a man who in 1901 could not afford a £5 fee. Frank Hornby is 37 years old and working as a bookkeeper for a Liverpool meat importer named David Hugh Elliott, operating on James Street in the city centre. He earns enough to support a wife and 2 sons. He has been developing an idea since 1899, an educational toy built from perforated metal strips and standard nuts and bolts, capable of being assembled and disassembled into any structure a child can imagine. He believes it will sell. He believes it will teach children engineering. He is right about both. But first he needs £5 for the patent registration fee. He does not have it. He goes to Elliott. He explains the situation. Elliott agrees. On the 9th of January 1901, the patent is formally granted. The invention is called Mechanics Made Easy. That £5 loan is the most consequential commercial transaction in the history of British toy making. Neither man knows this at the time. Hornby operates as a partnership with Elliott for 6 years, producing components through workshops scattered across Liverpool. Then in 1907 he registers the Meccano trademark and secures a small workshop on Duke Street, his own space, his own machines, his own operation. In 1908 he buys out Elliott entirely and forms Meccano Limited. The company is wholly his. Elliott walked away from that transaction thinking he had done reasonably well on a £5 investment. The history of the following 3 decades does not support that assessment. By 1914, international demand for Meccano has outgrown every building Hornby has occupied. He purchases 5 acres at Old Swan, an industrial district east of the city centre, and commissions a purpose-built manufacturing facility. In September 1914, the Binns Road Works opens its gates for the first time. He owns it outright. No lease, no landlord. The building is a statement about how long he intends to be here, and everything inside it is designed to match that ambition. Walk inside Binns Road at its height, and the senses reach you before the eyes have organized what they are looking at. The warmth of metal being pressed and formed, machine oil and fresh paint, the percussive rhythm of die-casting presses running in measured sequence, workers along assembly lines moving with the ease of long practice, people who have been doing exactly this, in exactly this building, for years. People whose parents worked the same district, whose children will come through these same gates in turn. Between 1,000 and 2,000 people pass through Binns Road each working day depending on the season. Entire Liverpool families span consecutive generations inside these walls. The Meccano sets leaving through the loading bays reach distributors across the British Empire, North America, and Europe. After the First World War, one market shift benefits Hornby in ways he could not have engineered. German toy manufacturers, the precision clockwork train makers who had dominated British toy shops before 1914, are frozen out by consumer sentiment. The vacuum in the domestic market is complete, and Hornby has the infrastructure, the distribution, and the production capacity to fill it. In 1920, he launches his first clockwork O-gauge locomotive, designed to be assembled from standard Meccano components. His reasoning is that children enjoy building things, and this will reinforce that instinct. He discovers by 1925 that children do not want to rebuild their locomotives. They want to run them. He abandons the construction concept without sentiment and moves entirely to fully assembled, electrically powered models detailed to a standard the British market has not encountered before. The pivot is correct. Through the late 1920s and into the 1930s, Hornby trains become the defining aspiration of British childhood at Christmas. The 1937 LMS Princess Elizabeth, a model of the locomotive that broke the non-stop record on the London to Glasgow run, becomes immediately iconic. Fathers buy it intending to give it to their sons. Some find it genuinely difficult to part with. Children receive it and do not break it. They keep it. They pass it on. This is entirely deliberate. Frank Hornby builds toys calibrated for permanence, not for replacement. His instinct is that an object worth making is worth building to last. Then, in December 1933, he adds something new to the catalogue. A range of small die-cast zinc figures for model railway layouts, station staff, farmyard animals, road vehicles, priced cheaply as platform accessories. The intention is modest, something to make a layout look inhabited. The road vehicles in particular prove explosively popular as standalone toys. Children do not place them on railway platforms. They play with them on the kitchen floor, in the garden, on windowsills, anywhere except the context they were designed for. In April 1934, the company's own Meccano magazine gives these toys a name: Dinky Toys. By August 1935, the Meccano prefix is dropped permanently. One of the most recognized toy brand names in the world is now standing alone, not through a board decision or a deliberate strategic extension, but because children refused to use an accessory the way it was supposed to be used. The entire Dinky empire, the delivery vans in livery, the buses, the trucks, the decades of models that serious collectors still catalogue obsessively today. It all began as an accident of customer behavior that nobody inside the factory appears to have identified as an accident. It was simply absorbed into the expanding business as if it had always been planned. In 1938, Hornby makes one more decisive move. The Hornby 00 system, double O gauge, smaller than O gauge, better suited to the dimensions of post-war British living rooms, launches with a locomotive based on the Gresley A4 Pacific. The scale that every serious model railway operator in Britain uses today is established here at Binns Road in 1938. Frank Hornby serves as Conservative Member of Parliament for the Everton constituency between 1931 and 1935. A Methodist, a committed believer in British manufacturing, British workers, and the specific dignity of making things well, he remains to the end the man who walked into a Liverpool office in 1901 unable to afford a £5 registration fee and walked out with a patent that would support an empire for 50 years. He dies on the 21st of September, 1936. He is 73. The company passes to his eldest son, Roland Godfrey Hornby. who becomes chairman and managing director. Roland inherits an extraordinary position, a trusted brand, a loyal global customer base, a factory designed by his father for longevity, a workforce that believes in what it makes, a distribution network accumulated over 35 years of patient, uninterrupted growth. What Roland cannot inherit is the precise combination of engineering instinct and commercial perception that allowed his father to notice what the market needed before the market had formed the words to ask for it. That combination is rare in any individual and does not transfer by blood or proximity. It can only be recognized in retrospect once its absence has become expensive. Through the late 1940s and into the 1950s, Meccano Limited rides the post-war economic expansion without rigorously examining the forces gathering at its edges. Injection-molded plastic emerges as a serious commercial manufacturing technology. Cheaper than die-cast zinc alloy, faster to tool, lighter to ship, capable of producing finer surface detail at lower unit cost. Roland dismisses it as inferior and temporary. The bin's road machinery continues to run on metal. The assembly methods his father designed remain in place. The products do not change in fundamental character. What the factory floor cannot tell you is what is approaching from outside. By the late 1950s, Dinky Toys commands the premium end of the British die-cast vehicle market. Its models, delivery vans in authenticated company liveries, commercial trucks, heavy plant, are quality objects, purchased for birthdays and Christmas, stocked in proper toy shops and hobby retailers. The premium is justified. The product earns it. Then, Lesney Products of East London begins selling miniature die-cast cars packaged in replica matchboxes through newsagents, tobacconists and sweet shops, priced at roughly a third of a Dinky toy. The economic logic of that comparison is not complicated. A child with limited weekly money does not save for weeks to buy one expensive toy. A child with limited weekly money buys the affordable thing available today, on the way home from school, without asking permission. Dinky's market share begins to bleed from below, not dramatically, not all at once, but consistently, one small purchase at a time, in every corner shop in the country. Roland's response is feature improvement. Spring suspension, opening doors, steerable front wheels. Each addition is a genuine engineering step forward. Each one is also the correct answer to the wrong question, delivered at increasing cost into a product that has already lost the argument on price. Then the Japanese manufacturers arrive. In 1965, Yonezawa launches the Diapet range in international markets. In 1970, Tomica follows, with panel lines sharper than Binns Road's aging tooling can match, and prices that Binns Road's cost structure cannot approach. The quality case that Dinky had made for 25 years stops working at both ends simultaneously. By 1964, Meccano Limited is losing money at a rate the board cannot stabilize alone. Richard Lines, managing director of Lines Brothers Limited, the parent company of the Triang Railways brand, acquires the company. He looks at the Binns Road operation and reads it plainly. Premium die-cast metal products on margins the market has closed. A brand name trusted by 2 generations of British households. An opportunity to apply cheaper plastic manufacturing methods to products that will carry a name people already believe in. The Hornby family is removed from the board. The traditional metal train range is discontinued. Triang's plastic production methods are applied to the Hornby product line. The brand name survives the transition intact. The product that carries it changes fundamentally beneath the surface. Workers who had spent careers producing precision die-cast locomotives now operate inside a factory whose purpose has been redefined around them by management that arrived after the acquisition and will leave before the consequences fully arrive. In 1972, Lines Brothers itself collapses into voluntary liquidation. The Hornby division passes to Dunby Combex marks and is rebranded as Hornby Railways. The trains carry on through another change of ownership. The fundamental economic question how to manufacture a quality British toy at competitive British costs, is not resolved. It is carried forward again as someone else's problem. The 1970s press on every manufacturer running traditional processes on a unionized workforce. Inflation climbs through the decade. Energy costs climb with it. The industrial disputes that define this period in British manufacturing life are felt inside Binns Road, as inside every comparable factory in the country. The Dinky division, now part of the same ownership structure, continues to lose market to Japanese manufacturers at a rate the available tooling cannot close. By 1979, both Meccano and Dinky have passed into the ownership of Airfix Industries, which over the following 3.5 years absorbs £5 million in losses from the Liverpool operation, before reaching the conclusion that the boardroom has been approaching, without stating it plainly, for a decade. The decision is made in London. It is communicated on a Friday afternoon. It is the 30th of November, 1979. A manager named Rosemary Critchley notices the expressions on the faces of Airfix executives as they file in for a late meeting. She climbs onto her desk. She listens through the wall of a cupboard adjoining the boardroom. She hears the liquidation plan. She climbs down and tells the floor. Minutes later, the managing director makes the formal announcement over the tannoy. 940 workers, the majority of them women, are handed P45 forms and redundancy letters. They are given between 15 and 40 minutes to clear their belongings and leave the building. Permanently. Many of them have worked here for the entirety of their adult lives. For Colette Conway, who met her husband Jeff on their first day at the plant, whose lunch breaks were spent walking to his grandmother's house near the factory, this is not the loss of a job. It is the severing of the social geography that had structured her entire adult life. They do not leave quietly. John Lynch, a 67-year-old union convener from the Cantrill Farm estate, leads the response. The workers escort management off the premises. The gates are locked from the inside. The Binns Road factory, which has been producing toys since September 1914, now belongs to its workforce. 6 days later, on the 6th of December, the occupation becomes a formal work-in. Workers produce batches of Dinky Toys and Meccano components, documenting in real time that the factory is still operationally capable. They are building a demonstration. No buyer comes forward. The batches sit. The demonstration proves nothing to anyone with the power to act on it. Then, on Christmas Eve, management cuts the electricity, the heating, and the telephone lines. The choice of date is the most revealing single decision in the entire episode. Not the 23rd, not Boxing Day, Christmas Eve. The workers bring portable heaters. They rig their own lighting. They stay. John Lynch tells reporters it will be cold and dark, but the gates will remain locked. The national media arrives. Thames Television broadcasts a dedicated documentary on the occupation. The images? Women in heavy coats around portable heaters in a freezing, unlit factory on the holiest night of the calendar produce public reaction that Airfix has not anticipated. Liverpool dockers discuss a complete embargo on all Airfix products. 2 local members of Parliament table questions in the House of Commons. The Prime Minister publicly warns that Airfix could face prosecution for failing to provide the statutory 90-day redundancy notice. In January 1980, workers organise a 6-hour vigil outside Airfix headquarters in London. Airfix does not negotiate, it waits. The redundancy offers increase through February. Up to £5,000 for long-serving workers, conditional on the premises being vacated. Early votes reject this 2-1. Then the margins narrow. People have mortgages, children need feeding. Solidarity does not cover either of those things. By late February, 900 workers have contracted to somewhere between 50 and 100. The people who remain are no longer holding the factory for the possibility of reopening. They have passed that point. What they want now is for the ending to be witnessed. They will not open the gates. The gates will need to be taken. At 4 o'clock in the morning on the 11th of March 1980, approximately 140 bailiffs arrive at Binns Road carrying axes and iron bars. More than 30 police officers are present. The gates are forced open. The remaining workers are physically removed from a factory that has been in continuous operation since September 1914. 14 weeks, one of the longest factory occupations in British industrial history. It ended with axes against a gate before dawn, and it changed nothing. Dunby Combex marks files for bankruptcy in 1980. In 1981, a management buyout reconstitutes the trains business as Hornby Hobbies Limited. It floats on the London Stock Exchange in 1986. The Hornby name continues, the locomotives continue, Binns Road does not. The site stands derelict through the 1980s, stripped of its machinery, windows broken, used by people with no official reason to be there. Demolition proceeds in stages through the 2000s. A housing development replaces it. There is no commemorative plaque, nothing on the wall, nothing set into the pavement. A complex that housed one of the great toy manufacturing operations of the 20th century is now architecturally indistinguishable from any other residential estate in the city. In 1995, under competitive pressure that a British factory running British labour costs cannot outlast, Hornby moves all manufacturing to Guangdong province in China. The transition takes 4 years, the last British assembly lines close. The product that results is more finely detailed and more accurately engineered than the old Binns Road tooling could have produced at the same price. The quality improves. The workforce that built the quality is somewhere else entirely. Today, Hornby plc is a listed company on the London Stock Exchange. Through acquisitions accumulated over several decades, it now holds some of the most recognised names in British toy manufacturing history. Hornby itself, Scalextric, Airfix, Corgi. Between all of them, not a single British factory. The company designs, licenses, and distributes. It does not manufacture. It has navigated serious financial difficulty in recent years, recording operating losses and restructuring repeatedly, attempting to find stable footing in a leisure market that has shifted almost beyond recognition from the one Frank Hornby built. In the absence of the factory, the objects carry the memory. The pre-war Type 22 delivery van, cast in an impure zinc alloy that metallurgy says should not still be intact, sells at auction for over £20,000. A toy that left Binns Road for a few shillings is now priced beyond most family cars. The Meccano Outfit No. 10, the flagship set in a multi-drawer mahogany cabinet with hundreds of precision brass components and enameled steel parts, capable of building a functional working clock, commands between £300 and £800 when it comes to auction. These are not rarities trading on scarcity alone. They are objects that people who own them do not want to release. Collectors pursue production variants with the focus of industrial archaeologists. A subtle difference in casting between two seemingly identical models means the tooling was modified at a specific moment in time. A paint variation means the supply chain changed. A box variant fixes a decision to a particular week on the factory floor. Each object carries encoded information about the human and mechanical systems that made it, more precisely, in many cases, than any official company record. Frank Hornby built toys designed to outlast the children who received them. He built a factory designed to outlast any individual. He was right on both counts. The toys are still here. The factory lasted 90 years before it ended at 4 in the morning with axes and iron bars. Stand where Binns Road was. Close your eyes. It is 1952. The presses are running. The particular warmth of cast metal and fresh paint is in the fabric of the walls. In the packing room, a locomotive is being wrapped in tissue paper and settled into a green cardboard box destined for a toy shop in Manchester or Edinburgh or Belfast. The woman packing it has worked this line for 11 years. She does it with the attention of someone who knows exactly what she is making and what it will mean to whoever opens it. The boy who tears the wrapping on a Christmas morning will not know her name. He will keep the locomotive for 60 years. He will be told what it is worth. He will decide not to sell it. Outside, the shift changes without a gap. Workers walk home past the houses where their parents live, the streets where their grandparents settled. Some of them will bring their own children through this same gate in 15 years. Open your eyes. A housing estate, a quiet residential street on a grey afternoon, nothing to read. We did not lose Hornby because the trains stopped selling. Go into any serious model shop, and the locomotives are still on the shelf. The same careful liveries, the same level of considered detail. But they were designed in offices in Margate and built in a factory in southern China, and they carry the name of a man who could not afford £5 in 1901, and whose understanding of what a toy should be, built honestly, built to last, built to be passed between hands, outlasted every corporate structure assembled around it. The factory is gone. What he understood about making things is still running on those shelves. The £5 loan paid off, just not the way either of them could have imagined.